Hi po, good morning po mga Kong. I hope you watched na po yung third part ng video ni VP Sara Duterte. And she said there po na kaya hindi na rin siya pumunta po doon sa second hearing po ng kanyang VP budget is because gagamitin daw po yung COA findings sa pag-atake laban sa kanya. So po ulit-ulit po niya sinasabi na ina-atake raw po siya and 90% nga ng mga tanong is confidential funds kahit wala na raw sa 2024 and 2025 yung CF sa OVP. And kahit wala akong kinalaman, I quote, doon sa mga observations ng COA, sinasabi nila na kasalanan ni Inday Sara yan. What's your take on that, sir? Ano pong komento niyo rito?
Well, for first, no, ako talaga, sumagot. For first, kasalanan naman talaga niya. Paano? Because she's the head of agency. Whether it resulted in malfeasance or whatsoever, it is her responsibility and accountability to explain why these findings have been observed by COA. Sino naman ang tatanungin namin? Di ba? Department of Education, Office of the Vice President, it is a matter of record that she is the Vice President, she is the Secretary of Education during that time. Di ba? Wala naman kami, sino naman ang ituturo ng Kongreso? The second thing is, people have this misconception that when they go for the budget hearing, magprepresenta lang sila ng magkano ang gagastusin namin, magkano yung kailangan ng department namin, ano yung priority. Hindi ho yan lang ang budget hearing. Although that's an important part of what a budget hearing is. Pansin po ninyo, ito po ang mekanismo ng Kongreso bilang mga kinatawan ng taong bayan para sabihin na ito ay susuportahan namin, ito hindi namin susuportahin dahil ito'y mahalaga para sa taong bayan. Tawag po doon, power of the purse. It's the way we can somehow make our government agencies accountable. Diba? Hindi naman namin pwedeng turuan ang secretary ng anong department kung anong gagawin niya. Hindi naman, we cannot impose ourselves on the executive considering the branches, di ba? Branches of government. Kasi we're all co-equal branches of government. But by exercising the power of the purse, we are able to hold the executive accountable, and that is not paninira, that is not politika, that is how the political process works. That is how a mature democracy works. Diba? So, pumupunta sila dito, sana hindi nila isipin na pagagalitan sila, pupolitikahin sila, sisiraan sila. Kasi, if you look at the proceedings, never naman kaming mga neophytes disrespectful sa kanya, diba? Never naman katulad kahapon ng kasamahan namin, di naman namin tinasang boses namin. Kami pa nga ang tinasa ng boses kahapon eh. Diba? That is the important thing to consider. Pangatlo, dun sa, if you have to be technical about it, items in the budget of a 2-year life. Now, part of examining the budget is understanding how previous budgets were spent. You can't totally absorb yourself na sasabihin, tapos na to. Diba? Especially if the life for that fund just ended. Like, when it was approved in 2022, so we have until 2023, end of 2023. So last year lang yon. So we are still within bounds to ask clarity on certain items. And lastly, public office is a public trust. We are all bound not only by sins of commission, but more importantly, sins of omission. Nung sinabi ko kanina na kasalanan ni Inday Sara, wala akong sinasabing may nakuha, may nawawala. Although si COA may sinasabi na mayroong mali yung pagkagastos na pinapasauli. And mind you, that's not, kahapon naliwanagan ako, hindi pala yun yung starting point. Yan na yung end point halos ng proseso. Kasi notice of disallowance na, meron ng pabalik-balik na papel. Hindi lang pala, may mga audit observation. Due process was observed until that point that a notice of disallowance. So kung sasabihin natin na wala naman siyang kasalanan by granted, by commission, definitely by omission, she has the ultimate accountability as head of those departments. Those are public funds. The public office is a public trust.
Maikli lang, no? Thank you, Kong Jude, for the enlightenment. Kasi andyan naman kami, we were very much present during the budget deliberations. Ako personally, yung mga kailangan kong itanong, natanong ko na, narinig nyo naman po yung mga sagot sa amin, narinig nyo naman po kung paano kami sinagot ng head of the department. Sabi ko nga, nung napag-uusapan kahapon yung tungkol sa tradition, sa courtesy, sinagot ko po yan na dapat courtesy begets courtesy. Diba? Ganun naman po tayo, kay tradisyon ng kaugalian po ng Pilipino yan. And sa tingin ko, para sa akin, dahil wala nga nasagot, wala kaming nakuha, ang tingin ko, hindi niya po kabisado yata yung pinopropose niyang budget. Baka hindi niya alam yung nilalaman ng budget niya. Kaya ganun na lang po niya kami sagutin, ganun na lang po yung impression na iniwan niya, tapos hindi nga po nag-attend kahapon. Baka hindi niya kabisado o hindi niya alam nangyayari sa loob ng opisina niya, kaya nagkaroon ng mga ganun na problema, yung mga aom niya. Sinabi ko nga po during my line of questioning nung first na budget briefing, na yung 5 million nga na aom at hindi mo na apela o hindi mo na depensahan o hindi mo na ibalik, may mga natatanggal nga pong mayor. May mga naaalis po ng mga public officials dahil sa mga ganyan na problema. So, baka hindi niya lang alam kung how her budget works or ano po laman ng budget niya.
I think much has been said. Si Kong Jude already mentioned yung relevance yung CIF. But for me po, I think really, especially in light of the question po, no, yung interview itself, I think she just refuses to take accountability for all that we are looking for in Congress in exercise of the power of the purse. Kasi naman po, yung CIF, nabanggit naman ni Kong Jude kung bakit we would think that she is responsible or should be responsible whether by omission or by commission. But to say that dahil lang po CIF yung topic of questions, I don't think that's true. Because precisely, during that hearing, I admittedly maybe 90% yung tanong tungkol sa CAF kasi yun yung hot topic. We just received the notice of disallowance. We just received the COA reports. And mind you, the dates were 2024. We couldn't have asked this in 2023. So this was the right time to ask these questions. Now, we went to have that first hearing. Nagtanong po tayo tungkol sa CAF. Ayaw niya po sumagot. The next hearing, we prepared questions for 2025 naman. And again, tama si Kong Jude, 2023 kasama po yan. When you look at the NEP 3 years pong nandyan, you have the proposed 2025, you have the current which is 2024, and you have the actual 2023. So I think definitely within the bounds po nung hearing namin, we can exact questions about the utilization of 2023, which includes precisely yung subject of the audit report. Now, granted, ayaw niyo pong sagutin yan. We were prepared. I think individually, I was expecting some other Kongs to also ask about the CAF. Pero apparently, parang opposite na. Parang 97% naman yung tanong is about 2025, 2024 utilization. So, I think, given that, if she had appeared before us yesterday, she would have had the opportunity to talk about the budget in the future, as she claims that she would. But with the interview na lumalabas, parang linilihis po eh. Parang she just refuses to answer questions, whether man it is the CIF or whether it's about the actual budget proposed and used currently. So, I think that's my take po on the interview po and the timing of its release. Salamat po.
On my part, this is how I look at it. I'm satisfied because COA is not selective on rendering their decision, especially if it is borne out from their own findings. Na even nobody really is exempted from the scrutiny of how each agencies of government, regardless whether you're on top or you're the highest, you're not insulated from the COA assessment by way you utilize the fundings sourced out from the taxpayers' money. So I'm satisfied on that aspect kasi ginagawa ang COA yung kanilang trabaho. Now, similarly, ang trabaho din, mandato kasi ng COA yun under the Constitution. Ang mandato rin ng House of Representatives, as explained very well by Kong Jude and Kong Pao and Kong Rog, ay busisiin yung budget na pinopropose bawat taon, part of that busisiin really is to look at how we can comprehensively appreciate the budget that was given to a certain agency, how they utilize that, supported by the COA reports. Kasi importante po yung utilization, especially if the budget is continuing appropriation. Kasi hindi yung isang mga, in many cases po, ang mga ahensya hindi nila nauubos sa isang taon ang kanilang pondo. Mayroon pa talaga pong naiiwan dyan. Ngayon, mapapansin po natin, may mga programa po sa dating budget na mini-maintain na pinopropose sa darating po ng mga taon. So, ikukumpara po natin yan. So, pag ikukumpara po yan, pinag-uusapan po dyan yung utilization rate, pinag-uusapan po dyan yung effectivity ng pagbibigay ng pondo at paggagastusan ng pondo. At, of course, ang COA talaga magmamatter sa budget hearing. That's why we always look on to ano yung mga supporting documents para masabi natin na itong pondo na ito ay tagamit at kailangan pang pondohan. So, basically, if we focus on that, yung mandato ng bawat opisina, mandato ng bawat ahensya na ginawa ng gobyerno, wala po tayong rason para sabihin na ito ay pamumulitika. Ito ay isang senyales na maganda at vibrant at strong ang mga ahensya ng ating gobyerno, especially on the principle of check and balances. Sana po doon na lang po ang anggulo ang ating makita.
Thank you. Oh.
Do you have a follow-up question, Marian?
Yes, pwede pa po ba magtanong? Kasi I know this has been asked to you po several times siguro. Pero nabanggitin ni VP Sara na hindi na raw po bago yung usapin ng pag-impeach sa kanya. It was mentioned na raw ni Kong Franz Castro November 2023. Ang sabi niya, quote, tuloy-tuloy lang yan, openly na pinag-uusapan ang impeachment. So, pinag-uusapan po ba talaga to? Go, sir.
Very simple, hindi po totoo yan.
And in addition, I have heard talks of impeachment, but coming from her. We don't hear it here in Congress. I can guarantee you that po.
Thank you. Next question comes from Bibian Gulia of ABS-CBN2.
Good morning, Kongs. For reaction daw po, of course related to VP Sara pa rin dun sa statement niya or sa video na inilabas kanina, essentially parang sinasabi na scripted daw yung mga budget hearing, one, and then two, reaction daw po dito sa comment niya na para hindi halata na inaatake nila ako ay tinanggalan din nila yung mga iba pang departments ng confidential funds. So nakikita nyo, bumulong ang Makabayan Block kay Martin Romualdez. At dahil sa kagustuhan ni Martin Romualdez na hindi siya aatakihin at dahil gusto niyang suportahan ng Makabayan at ang NPA, nakinig siya. At ang ginawa niya, tinanggal yung budget para alamin kung yun po.
Thank you po, ma'am. Meron po ako nakitang may script. Paulit-ulit po yung sagot niya. Binabasa niya yung script niya. Pero kami po, wala po kami script. Wala naman pong senaryo, wala naman pong ganun. Pero lahat ng sagot, binabasa yung script. Yun lang po masasabi ko.
Alam yun, napaka-convenient na reason na sasabihin na may script po kami. Kung isipin mo naman, there are around 50 people normally on an appropriations committee meeting and hindi lahat pumapasok at the same time. Secondly, we come from different persuasions, different even districts, different perspectives. Ang galing naman siguro ng scriptwriter, no? Napapag-iisa niya lang lahat. Pero gaya ng sinabi ni Kong Pao, isa lang naman yung may binabasang script eh. Tatatlungan lang yung linya, 'di ba? Paulit-ulit binabasa pa. Yung punto ko lang is I honestly take offense that the Vice President has chosen to make all these accusations over media, over an obviously scripted television interview, 'di ba? Kasi kung marami naman pala siyang sasabihin, bakit hindi niya sinabi nung nandito siya Kongreso, di ba? When we could have made all people mentioned accountable. But in fact, ako, correct, it's an attempt, it's obviously an attempt to divert the issues that could have been properly treated in Congress during the Appropriations Committee hearing. All these claims about the leadership, about confidential funds, it's very disheartening kasi bakit kami pa na gumawa ang tama ng tama para sa taong bayan, kami na ginawa yung lahat para maging transparent, kami pa ang i-impute na may ginawang kamalian. Di ba? Kongreso na nga ang nag-take ng step to make the confidential funds more transparent. Ngayon, kami pa ang sasabihan na it's an attempt as a form of political attack against the Vice President. I think the representatives of the people have a better use of their time rather than just attending to these matters.
Dagdagan ko lang, sorry. Nakita naman natin na very constructive yung House when it came to questions. Nothing personal, nothing political. Alam niyo naman sa House of Representatives, very demure, very mindful yung mga members. Saka yung consideration talaga, saka yung courtesy was afforded, and walang kahit anong diversionary tactics, walang kahit anong tanong na taliwas sa laman ng budget. Ang trabaho po namin, magbusisi at magtanong. Ang trabaho po nila, ipresenta yung budget at sagutin yung mga tanong. Ganun lang naman po kasimple, wala naman pong kahit ano pa dyan.
Isang pahabol na lang, konti na lang. Kung naghahanap sila ng script, ang tanong namin, bakit ang isang television interview na obviously parehong subject, parehong interviewer, parehong set nga, in-extend pa ng 3 araw at purposely released in sync with the proceedings in Congress? Siguro mas alam ng taong bayan kung sino ang may script.
Vivian?
Opo. Sir, comment din sir dun sa sinasabi na laging inaatake ang Vice President dahil siya yung tinitingnan ng mga tao na magiging susunod na presidente. And mayroon daw plan to defund the Office of the Vice President. Narinig din namin na posibleng piso lang ang ibigay sa OVP. Kaparte yan ng pag-atake. And sir, hindi lang masyado na-address kanina, yung bulong daw ng makabayan yung pagtatanggal ng confidential funds sa mga civilian agencies nung nakaraan.
Comment lang on the first part po, yung tungkol sa sorry, can we repeat nga po yung first part? Yung about the Vice President na
Yung
inaatake.
inaatake dahil historically speaking daw, laging inaatake yung Vice President dahil tinitingnan na siya yung magiging susunod na presidente. And yung plan daw to defund the OVP is part of the attack.
Maybe that's the playbook of the previous administration, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't care who the president will be in 2028. What we care about is the budget now. Yun lang po yung masasabi ko siguro sa any ploy that there might be.
I think the ones that are accusing us of politicking are the ones who are actually doing the politicking. Wala ang ginagawa. Let's go back to the very basic of why we are holding this committee briefing, committee deliberation. It's part of the mandate. Parte po yan sa aming sinumpaang katungkulan. Wala hong naiisip ata dito sa House of Representatives na infuse yung possible na 2028 because that's a long way to go. And number two, what is immediate to us is for the entire bureaucracy of this country to operate. And for this country to really operate is to have the budget approved and see kung ano yung mga kailangan ng taong bayan pagdating sa pondo, programa, at bigyan kung pwede, kung maaari, na mabigyan yung mga ibang programa na kinakailangan naman talagang pondohan. Ganun lang po. As to the case of probably, kasi ako po yung mag-sponsor nung pondo. Sa mga budget deliberation, anything is possible. Remember, gusto ko lang pong balikan, no? Pag pumasok po yan dito sa House of Representatives, pupunta rin po yan sa BICAM. So, yung in terms of adjustment of priorities, kaya nga po importante ang pre-briefing budget deliberation kasi doon po malalaman kung ano yung naging determination kung bakit may pondo sa certain line item, bakit ito ay mas malaki, bakit yun ay medyo mababa at paano po nagasto. Kasi yun lang po yung way para maintindihan ng mga membro ng Kongreso o kung ano yung magiging pasya o ano yung magiging resulta ng po pwede nilang i-approve, no, as far as House of Representatives is concerned. So anything is possible po. Anything is possible. Pero ako as a sponsor, ang pinaka-importante talaga is yung opisina, kung anong kailangan ng opisina na base po sa mandato niya. Of course, hindi ho din natin po pwedeng i-disregard na may mga empleyado dyan sa mga opisina ng bawat ahensya. Kailangan din ho ng pondo pagdating sa mga maintenance ng kanilang mga assets and all mga office equipment. So kailangan din ho tingnan yon. Pero I don't think na yung sinasabing piso na we are not going to just ignore the budget that is required for the for the office of the vice president to have in order for the office itself and the institution itself to operate.
Yung tungkol sa nabulungan ng mga kaibigan namin, mga kasama namin sa Makabayan, alam mo yung Makabayan Block or yung tatlong kongresista, they have been really active fiscalizers in Congress. And I will give it to them na minsan sabi nga namin maganda yung research nila, maganda yung paglatag nila ng mga concerns. And the leadership naman, kami naman na mga miyembro, hindi namin yan pwedeng sabihin na hindi namin sila narinig. Yeah. But the actions of the leadership is not just a product of because nabulungan. Napaka-convenient naman na consideration yon. The statements of Makabayan are of a public record. It's part of the proceedings of Congress. I don't think nabulungan yon. Then eventually, Congress as a whole decided to do what was best for the country. Diba? Ang obligasyon naman natin ultimately is for the people. At katulad nga ng sinabi ni Kong Z, ang batayan namin always is ano talaga ang mandato ng opisina. And I don't think Congress will ever compromise the necessity of strengthening the mandate of every office, including the office of the Vice President. But since the Vice President has chosen not to explain it herself, then we will have to go to the Constitution kung ano talaga ang trabaho ng Vice President and make sure that that role is given the resources that it requires.
Pahabol lang yung kasi lahat naman ng yun, may tumatawag. Hindi, yung sa akin lang naman, karamihan naman kasi ng mga nire-raise niya na parang problema, yung ina-atake daw siya. Karamihan naman ng mga nasabi niya, ina-attack niya yung, parang siya nag-a-attack sa sarili niya. Parang self-inflicted kasi. Pero in the House of Representatives, you have been, from the start, kahit sa press con po, kung may issues man, we stick with the issues. Kung may critique man, after we critique, after we look into the deeper content ng mga sinasabi o ng budget, nag-offer naman kami ng solution. So, issue-based lang po talaga. Kitang-kita naman po yun. Pangatlo, sinasabi niya na ano yun, yung sa pagka-presidente, sorry.
Kasi siya daw yung, historically,
yung mga VP. Oo, siguro familiar sila doon, no? Nung nakarang administrasyon. Hindi naman po attacks kasi yung ginagawa namin. We're focusing on the issues. And susunod nga po, ako po, hindi po ako tatakbong presidente. Ina-announce ko na hindi po ako tatakbong presidente. Nakatutok po kami sa budget. Kaya nga po yung issues around circling the office of the vice president, which is yung pinakahuli na inattendan po namin na budget hearing, yung mga tinitignan po natin doon kung paano i-improve yung Office of the Vice President in terms of budget utilization and the overall budget as well. Salamat po.
Good morning po, Kongs. Yesterday po marami kaming nasaksihan na first time. First time po na hindi lumusot yun pong budget ng isa sa pinakamataas na tanggapan sa pamahalaan. First time din na walang humarap na opisyal sa budget deliberations. Ano po yung repercussions po nito and ano po yung napagkasunduan sa House panel para hindi na ito maulit? At may effort din po ba kayo kung Jong na at lastly makipag-ugnayan sa OVP kasi kayo po yung magde-defend ng budget before the plenary?
Lahat po talaga mga first timers din po kami. Pareho tayo nagulat. Patuloy po yung pakikipag-ugnayan namin. In fact, yung aking pong Chief of Staff ay tumatawag din po sa kanilang opisina at nagsulat na rin po kami para magkaroon po ng ugnayan, coordination, nang sa ganun ay mabigyan po tayo ng enough na material para po pagdating po sa plenaryo ay meron din ho tayong mapagkukunan ng kasagutan sa mga posibleng mga katanungan nating mga kasamahan. Now, pagdating po dun sa sa nangyari po kahapon, actually hindi ho scripted 'yon. Talagang makikita niyo po kung paano po yung demokrasya na kikita natin even in the budget hearing, meron talagang may posisyon at may posisyon na hindi nagkakatugma. Pero at the end of the day, nakita niyo naman po na ang focus talaga is the budget. At sana, although hindi pa talaga napag-uusapan officially kung ano yung magiging possible na kasi nasa rules po yan no, kung pero ang aming pong posisyon diyan ay since tayo po ay nahalal at tayo po ay inatasan ng ating mga kababayan na magkaroon ng trabaho, no? I mean, our primary consideration is since we are all public servants, then it is incumbent upon us also to follow what the constitutional requirement says, which is in the times of budget hearing, we really we owe it to the people to really present our budget through the members of the legislature, present them, explain to them, and allow them to really exercise also their mandate to scrutinize the budget. Sa makatuwid, in short, we hope sana dahil first time ito at sana walang second time. Sana hindi na mauulit yon. Kasi it's not only an insult to the House of Representatives, it is also a way of dismissing what the Constitution says and what the Constitutions require of us as public servants.
Add ko lang, first time din po na ganun po ang trato sa House of the Representatives, House of the People during a budget hearing po. Kaya minsan mapapaisip ka, masakit ba talaga o masarap ang first time? So ngayon lang po kasi tayo natrato ng ganito sa House of Representatives. Kaya nga po, House of the People, and all of the people are there as district representatives, at karapatan po namin na tanungin po at maalaman ng tao kung saan po nagagamit yung mga pondo na to. Oo nga. Di ba marginalized sector? So, kayo po yung representative ng mga sector.
Sa lahat po ng nasa panel, now that the Vice President is neither an ally or a member of the cabinet of the PBBM administration, considering po in the past administrations, the Office of the Vice President always received the smaller budget. Since hindi po siya hindi siya kaalyado ng sitting president, will we expect that in the coming years pa po?
Ako naman, as we always say, we might have differences with the person involved, but the position of the Vice President is an office that we need to respect, di ba? We can only hope that the same respect that we give her or her office is reciprocated. Unfortunately, with her absence, it tells us otherwise. But nonetheless, Congress can always choose to be the better person. We will give what is necessary for the office of the Vice President to, I know, this is my position. I would support any moves to ensure that the office of the Vice President is given the funds needed to carry out its constitutional mandate. Anything that is more than that, I will leave to the wisdom of my colleagues.
Pareha ni Kong Jude, no? Dapat po yung may iwan or ibibigay na budget sa Office of the Vice President is still responsive sa mandato po niya. Again, na-mention nila yung burn rate, yung utilization rate. Halimbawa, yung isang part ng budget niya, yung pagbibigay niya ng, kunwari, pagbibigay niya ng assistance, yung utilization or yung burn rate noon, 3% lang. Bakit mo pa bibigyan ng malaking budget yung part ng yung assistance na yon? Ibig sabihin, hindi niya nagagamit. So, bakit mo pa bibigyan ng budget? So, baka pwedeng sa ibang bagay na lang, yung kung saan niya mas nagagamit. So, again, it must be responsive to the needs and the mandate of the Office of the Vice President. Thank you.
In addition to that po, I think it really doesn't matter kung ally or not, and this applies to all agencies. Our mandate here is to exercise the power of the purse, and we will, as Kong Jude said, we'll do all our efforts to make sure that whatever the department, whatever the office, they have what they need to carry their constitutional mandate. Yun na po.
Ako naman on the part kasi parang mukhang individual position ito, 'di ba? Kasi wala pa naman talagang collective na pag-uusapan. Ang position ko naman, as long as there's no policy that says the office of the Vice President, and I'm talking about the office, ha? I'm not talking about the one occupying it. Pag wala pong polisiya na clear na policy na nagsaset ng parameters how this office may engage itself with social services, ako naman kung maganda yung pagpapatupad at nagagamit ng maayos yung pondo binibigyan, I have no problem with that, no. Ang akin lang is kailangan talaga, go back to the very basic, no? The reason why we're having this annually, it's not only being practiced by the House of Representatives simply because of a resolution or a law or rules that we have adopted here in the House. It's really the Constitution that requires us to hold this budget cycle each year and scrutinize the budget para makita po natin na if ever in the coming years the Office of the Vice President, halimbawa yung institution mismo, gusto nila mag-engage further into supplementing or complementing other programs that may even widen the effort of the government to reach out to the people, why not? But it also has to be first presented before the Congress, prove that it has been effectively used, and number two, and finally number three, it is also based on data that the objective of those services are really backed up by a data, no, para alam po. Parang very simple lang po sa akin. Again, I'll also like to borrow the words of Kong Jude. Sa ngayon, let's see whether kung ano yung sinabi ng Constitution na mandate po ng Office of the Vice President. But personally, I would say that there's no policy naman that precludes the office itself from engaging in other services apart, no, or beyond what is being said in the Constitution. Lahat naman posible, no? Lahat naman po posible sa mga panahon na ngayon. Ang pinaka-importante, the basic po na kailangan intindihin ay paano yung Office of the Vice President, kung ano yung nararapat na ibigay sa kanya para according sa kanyang mandato. Basic yon. Ibibigay po talaga yan. Halimbawa, yung salaries ng kanyang mga empleyado, kailangan talagang bigyan mo yan, di ba? Kung ano po yung kailangan ng kanyang opisina para tumakbo. Of course, kailangan mo yung sinasabi po nating MOOEs. Kung ano man yung asset, halimbawa, pag-aari ng opisina na kailangan i-maintain, talagang ibibigay mo yon. As to the other programs na pinopropose po, kaya nga po importante talaga na dumalo ang isang head ng agency para siya po yung mag-explain sa Kongreso. Dahil unang-una, hindi po na-involve ang membro ng House of Representatives sa pagdedetermina nitong mga priorities na to. Sila po yung nagdetermine ng priorities na to. And definitely, since hindi po alam at hindi po involved ang House of Representatives sa pag-prepare itong budget na to, naturally kayo pong tatanong at sila po ang mag-i-explain sa atin. Now, again, I'd like to borrow the words of our good friend here, a former seminarian, my good friend Congressman Jude Asidre. Ang maganda po sa House of Representatives is a deliberative body. Hindi po yan dinidesisyonan ng isang tao. So kung ano po yung wisdom na nakakarami, ay yun po yung makikita nating resulta, kung ano man yung magiging resulta pagdating po sa budget. Hindi lang ho sa opisina ng Vice President, opisina po ng ibang ahensya. Pangalawa, kung ano po yung ma-approve dito sa House of Representatives, aakyat naman po yan talaga sa bicameral conference. So anything can happen. Anything is possible.
Kung siya follow-up lang po, kasi mismo nang galing sa bibig ni Vice President na ipinaubaya ko na sa desisyon ng Kongreso yung budget ng Vice President. Kayo po ang magdedepensa sa plenary. Kung hindi siya dadalo, kasi sabi nyo, kailangan silang magpaliwanag dahil silang nakakaalam.
Yun po yung sa pre-budget.
Paano nyo idedepensa sa plenary yung budget ng Vice President kung darating yung ganong yugto?
Na alin na hindi siya pupunta. Well, tayo naman is kung ano kung ano whatever documents that we have in our possession, we will use that. I mean, I cannot extend beyond what is by my duty kasi hindi naman ho ako ang spokesperson ng opisina ng Vice President, so I cannot infuse my own opinion and my personal stand on matters relating to her budget. What I can give as a way of response to those members who may have some questions about the budget is I will base my answers on the documents that I have in my possession.
If I may add, saglit lang. Just to clarify, for the people to understand what the Vice President is asking for, she is asking for standalone social services funds. Basically, hindi ho katulad siguro sa amin, sa Kongreso, at sa iba pang mga kahit local government, we all defer to the funds that are already in the frontline departments. Hindi ho kami gumagawa ng sarili naming mga programa at hindi po yun standalone funds. What the Vice President is asking are standalone programs which she will have exclusive control. Hindi ko katulad sa congressman, wala ho kaming pondo, meron lang ho kaming dun sa test, sa tupad, papadala namin dun, sa DSWD. They own the funds. They manage the funds. This time, the Office of the Vice President is asking for their own exclusive funds. Kaya, hindi ho simpleng bagay ang inihingi ng Office of the Vice President. Hindi ho simpleng pondo katulad nung meron po yung ibang mga ahensya. Kasi po, ang labas po nito, magkakaroon ho talaga ng duplication with existing standalone programs. At sana po malinaw po sa taong bayan natin, hindi po na pinagbabawalan natin o inaagaw natin sa Vice Presidente ang resources necessary kasi parang meron sinasabing mawawalan ang taong bayan, yung mapasaan pupunta yung nangangailangan, nandyan naman ho talaga yung mga programa ng ating administrasyon, ng ating mga line agencies. we've heard the President loud and clear during the SONA, no? Can we keep the budget as it is? So that's the starting point. We're trying to understand the mindset of the executive, bakit ganito yung allocation, bakit ganitong amounts, and based on the efficiency of the utilization of the previous years, and also the overall socio-economic requirements of the country, looking forward to the economic goals that we're looking at, yun talaga ang magiging parameters namin. But we are heeding the call of the President to make sure na as much as possible, we will keep the suggested, the proposed budget as prepared by the administration. But nonetheless, of course, we will not be remiss in our duty if we do not look at what are the needs of the people, the economic targets that we have, and also the utilization capacity of the agencies based on the reports that they have made during the budget hearings.
Okay po, a second question lang. Lawmakers during the budget deliberations expressed willingness po kasi to increase the budgets of certain agencies. How would the House ensure that such efforts won't risk yung government's efforts when it comes to employing fiscal discipline and consolidation po?
I wish nandito si Vice Chair Jill Bongalon, no? He's the one who's more adept with this, but I will have this to say, no? We have every confidence that the economic team, especially the economic team, because we were talking about fiscal discipline, has instituted the right safeguards and will make sure that there is clear oversight over the appropriations and the utilization of the budget that we will be able to approve. It's very good that it's a good situation that we have open communication with the executive. The leadership has, we are both on the same page with the administration. So we are able to anticipate the needs. We are able to go beyond the present situation, kung saan talaga papunta to, looking at what's going to be the goals next year, the year after next. Ang maganda lang dito is, nakikita naman namin ang efforts, especially nung economic team, to ensure that there is responsive utilization of the budgets that will be approved.